Hi, I'm Pippin Hart from Silverado High School. Support for today's Varsity Quiz is provided by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
Coming up next on Varsity Quiz, it's Silverado taking on Bishop Gorman. This is Varsity Quiz. Hi, and welcome to the 51st season of Varsity Quiz, where the best and brightest high school students match wits in this unique academic competition. Now, we want to make sure you know there are now 2 separate Varsity Quiz leagues in each season's competition. So tonight, we start the road to the Blue League Championship when Silverado faces Bishop Gorman. So we started with 23 schools in the Blue League in 4 different divisions, and here we are at the first of 2 semifinals. We want to meet our players. Here is Silverado, undefeated in the Southeast Division, and their starters are, there's Cassie. Hi, Cassie. Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa.
Hello, Nate.
Inez. Hi, Inez. And Pippin. Ladies and gentlemen, the team from Silverado. And now the team from Bishop Gorman, undefeated in the Southwest Division. Let's meet Adam. Hi, Adam.
Hi.
There's Maya.
Hi.
There's Ethan.
Hi.
And there's Courtney.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bishop Gorman. Let's play Varsity Quiz. Which European automaker is still trying to recover huge fines and legal settlements involving an emissions cheating scandal? That'll be Bishop Gorman. Maya?
Volkswagen?
Yes, that's correct. Points for Bishop Gorman. Next question. George Washington's surprise attack and victory at which New Jersey town in December 1776 increased morale and gave enough of a recruiting boost? We'll go with Silverado. Pippin?
Concord, New Hampshire?
That is incorrect, and that is an interrupt with a point deduction. I'll finish reading the question for Bishop Gorman. In 1776, it increased morale and gave enough of a recruiting boost that his army avoided disbanding. Bishop Gorman. Maya?
Princeton?
No, it was Trenton, so no points. We move on to this question for both teams. While a force is usually a push or pull in a straight line, what term describes a push or pull in a circular direction? That's time. We're looking for torque. Next question. What kind of symbiotic relationship is illustrated by Atlantic puffins using burrows for nesting that were made by rabbits? Bishop Gorman. Ethan?
Commensalism?
Yes, points for Bishop Gorman. Next question is a calculation question. 50 graduates were asked about their favorite classes. 3 said math, science, and history. 5 liked math and science. 7 chose both math and history. 8 picked science and history. Another 20 chose only science. 28 liked history. And 14 said math. Well, how many students didn't like anything? I'll repeat the question. 50 graduates asked about their favorite classes. 3 said math, science, and history. 5 liked math and science. 7 chose both math and history. 8 picked science and history. Another 20 chose science. 28 liked history. 14 said math. How many students didn't like anything? That was time. I think it's one of the longest questions we've ever had on Varsity Quiz, and the answer was 5. Whew. That was a lot of work for nothing, huh? Let's move on. In Childhood's End, what does Arthur Clarke call the self-appointed rulers of Earth? Large-tailed bipeds with cloven hooves, horns, and leathery wings? Stumped on your Arthur C. Clarke, they called them overlords. Next question. Alloys are made by mixing 2 or more elements, at least one of which must be what kind of an element? Silverado. Pippin?
Earth metal?
I think we can accept that. Judges? Yes, that is a correct answer, and points for Silverado. Next question. Established by a South African mining magnate, name the world's first international study program which enables non-British students to study at the Oxford University. Silverado, Pippin?
Rhodes Scholarship?
Yes, that is correct, and points for Silverado. Next question. President Petro Poroshenko said the following on the 30th anniversary of a disaster at what site? Quote, "We honor those who lost their health and require special attention from the government and society. It's with an everlasting pain in our hearts that we remember those who lost their lives to fight nuclear death." Bishop Gorman, Maya?
Chernobyl.
Yes, points for Bishop Gorman. Next question. What art form based on tessera was widespread in ancient Greece and Rome? That's Bishop Gorman. Ethan?
Tessellations.
Incorrect. And that's time. We're looking for mosaics. Next question. Analgesics exist to relieve pain. These compounds differ from what other group of medications that temporarily eliminate all sensation? Silverado, Pippin.
Antihistamine?
Incorrect. And time, we're looking for anesthetics. No points. Next question. While the capybara is the world's largest rodent, what other creature common in North America is the world's second largest rodent? And that's Silverado, Pippin.
Rats?
No? Bishop Gorman, Maya?
Prairie dog.
No, we're looking for the beaver. Next question. What's the profession of the fictional characters Jake Brigance in A Time to Kill and Balthazar in The Merchant of Venice? Silverado, Pippin.
Merchant?
No? Time, we're looking for lawyer. Next question. Daniel Webster declined which political position offered to him in 1848 when he said, "I do not propose to be buried until I'm really dead and in my coffin"? Silverado, Pippin.
Secretary of State?
No? Time, he was offered the vice presidency. Next question. One reason to use hot water for washing is that what property of water is lower for hot water than cold water? Silverado, Pippin.
Surface tension?
Yes, points for Silverado. Next question is a calculation question. The Kardashian is a unit of time equal to 72 days, the length of Chris and Kim's marriage. To the nearest whole number, a couple who have been married for 20 years have been married for how many Kardashians? Repeating, the Kardashian, a unit of time equal to 72 days, the length of Chris and Kim's marriage. To the nearest whole number, a couple who've been married for 20 years have been married for how many Kardashians? Did they get in time? I don't think so. I think the bell rang. We're looking for 101. Did anybody have that? Oh, well. Let's move on. No points. In what system of income taxation would there be no deductions and one rate that applies to all taxpayers? Silverado, Pippin.
Flat tax?
Yes. Points for Silverado. After the failure of the beer hall putsch, Adolf Hitler was sentenced to prison, where he began writing what autobiographical work? Silverado, Pippin.
Mein Kampf?
Yes. Next question. In which city does the annual Penn Relays Carnival take place? Silverado, Pippin.
Philadelphia?
Yes. Points for Silverado. And the next question. What term indicates the first stage of the Hegelian dialectic process, or names the statement or proposition an author intends to support and prove? Silverado, Pippin.
Claim?
No? Time, we're looking for a thesis. Next question. Automobile batteries usually have a code telling when they were manufactured. So in what month and year was a battery made that has the code D19? Bishop Gorman, Maya?
December 2019.
No? Time, it was April, so they were doing months by alphabetical letters. No points. Next question. A barbershop quartet includes a lead, tenor, bass, and what other male singing voice? Bishop Gorman, Courtney?
Soprano?
Incorrect, and that is an interrupt with a point deduction with what other male singing voice between tenor and bass? Silverado, Inez?
Alto.
No, the answer was baritone, so no points. Next question. What kind of climate, sometimes as small as just a few square feet, differs from the main climate that surrounds it? Silverado, Pippin.
Microclimate?
Yes, points for Silverado. Next question. According to the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, which European country was entrusted with the temporary administration of Palestine? Silverado, Pippin.
Britain.
Yes. Next question. What story gave literature the following quote? You mean you put down your rock and I put down my sword and we try to kill each other like civilized people? And Bishop Gorman, Courtney?
A Princess Bride?
Yes, points for Bishop Gorman. And that is the end of round one. But before we move on, we want to learn a little bit more about our players, and we'll start with Silverado. We start with ninth grader Cassie Cleaver. Hi, Cassie.
Hi.
I hope you're having fun here on Varsity Quiz. I understand that you had a unique honor with something that you sing. Tell me what you did.
I'm getting ready to sing the national anthem at a Lakers-Pelicans game in New Orleans.
Congratulations, that's awesome. Good luck with that, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Cassie. Here's 10th grader Alyssa Lalos. Hi, Alyssa.
Hello.
And I understand that Varsity Quiz runs in your family. Tell me about that.
Yeah, my mom, she went to the Valley High School, and she was a 2-time state champion there.
Well, maybe you can do the same thing. Good luck, and
Hopefully.
thank you so much,
Thank you.
Alyssa. Here's 12th grader Inez Marco. Hi, Inez.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Tell me about the two languages that you speak.
I speak English and Russian.
Excellent. Where did you learn the Russian?
My mom is Russian,
Oh,
so
okay.
I grew up with it.
Well, good luck with that. We're going to stick with English for today, though. Thank you,
Yeah, for
Inez.
sure.
And here's 12th grader Pippin Hart. Hi, Pippin.
Hello.
I understand that you're some kind of an ambassador.
Yes, the CSN Planetarium has an Ambassadors of Astronomy internship program, and I just got accepted, and I shadowed another one of the interns. They run the shows at the planetarium, and afterwards do some sort of activity with it. So there's a star tour where we use the Digistar software to project the night sky onto the planetarium ceiling and show people around. There are also Q&As, and my favorite, celestial observation at 8 p.m., where we whip out a telescope and show you up there.
Wow. Very good. Well, good luck with that, and good luck here at Varsity Quiz. Ladies and gentlemen, the team from Silverado. All right, let's meet our players from Bishop Gorman. We'll start with 12th grader Adam Goldberg. Hi, Adam. How's it going?
Good.
I understand that you have a twin?
Yeah, I have a twin sister. She's
And
my...
does she go to Gorman too?
Yes, she does.
And what's her name?
Julia.
Want to give her a shout out?
Hi, Julia.
There you go. Thank you, Adam. Good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Here's 11th grader Maya Marshall. Hi, Maya.
Hi.
Hope you're having fun here. I understand that you have dual citizenship.
Yes, I do. I'm a dual citizen with Croatia and the United States.
So was that from the time you were born?
No, my mother's Croatian, and in Croatia you can get citizenship if you're related to someone else who is Croatian. So.
Well, that's wonderful. And congratulations, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Maya.
Thank you.
Here's 11th grader Ethan Garoza. Hi, Ethan.
Hi.
Nice to have you here. I understand that you play a musical instrument.
I do. I play classical guitar.
How long have you been doing that?
Oh, for like forever, maybe 6 years.
Well, excellent. Keep that up, and good luck with that, and good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Thanks, Ethan. And here's 12th grader Courtney Lewis. Hi, Courtney.
Hello.
I understand that you fancy yourself a writer?
Yes, I write poetry. I've been writing since I was about 12 years old, and recently I've started writing short stories, but usually I stick with poetry.
Okay, well, good luck with all of that, and good luck on Varsity Quiz. Ladies and gentlemen, our team from Bishop Gorman High School. And coming up here on Varsity Quiz, our bonus round is next. The score going into round two, Silverado with 35 points to Bishop Gorman's 15. Before we begin the bonus round, we have some new players. For Silverado, we want to say hello to Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Nice to have you here. Good luck here on Varsity Quiz. Two new players for Bishop Gorman. We'll start with Dominic. Hi, Dominic.
Hi.
Welcome. And on the other end, there's Luca.
Hello.
Hi, Luca. Welcome to both of you, and good luck. The Old Spanish Trail actually consisted of several trails that connected Santa Fe and Los Angeles through the region that became the Four Corners states and one other landlocked state. Name that state. Silverado, Pippin.
Wyoming?
No? Bishop Gorman, Luca?
Colorado.
No, it was Nevada. No points, no bonus questions. Next question for both teams. The only two snap-trap carnivorous plants are the water wheel plant and which other? Silverado, Pippin.
Venus flytrap?
Yes, bonus questions now for Silverado only. Answer the following questions about plants. First, what term used by botanists literally means putting together with light? Second, name the shoots of plants that grow horizontally along the ground or just beneath it from which new plants form. Captain.
For the first question, photosynthesis, and for the second one, shoots.
Photosynthesis is correct. The second answer we're looking for was stolons or runners, so some bonus points. And now this question for both teams. The ancient Roman festival Saturnalia began on December 17th, lasted 7 days. It celebrated which annual astronomical event? Silverado, Pippin?
Alignment of Saturn?
No? Did they get in time, judges? No, the bell had rung. We were looking for winter solstice. No bonus points, and next question for both teams. Which of Newton's laws of motion explains why a 20-Newton force produces greater acceleration of a softball than a bowling ball? Bishop Gorman, Ethan.
Newton's second law.
Yes. Bonus questions now for Bishop Gorman only. Answer the following questions about physics. First, according to Hooke's law, the strain is proportional to the what? And second, which term do physicists use to identify any substance through which waves of any kind travel? Captain?
First answer, displacement. Second answer, wavelength.
Both are incorrect. We're looking for stress and medium. So you got the main question, but no bonus points. We move on. This question for both teams. In Harriet Beecher Stowe's famous antebellum novel, Tom the Slave is sold to which vicious plantation owner? Not up on your Harriet Beecher Stowe. We're looking for Simon Legree. Next question for both teams is a calculation question. What's the third number in this Pythagorean triple? 20, 21, and blank. Repeating, what's the third number in a Pythagorean triple? 20, 21, and blank. Time, we're looking for 29. Next question for both teams. Herbert Hoover in 1928, Dwight Eisenhower in 1956, and Richard Nixon in 1960 won presidential primaries in Massachusetts, even though their names were not on the ballots. What kind of candidates were they? Silverado, Pippin.
Write-ins.
Yes. Bonus questions now for Silverado only. Answer the following associated with elections. First, while states identified as red states tend to vote for Republicans, those identified as blue states tend to vote for Democrats. What adjective is given to the states that could go either way in an election? And second, legislation adopted in 1845 ensured that no U.S. presidential election could ever be held on All Saints' Day, which is celebrated on what November date? Captain.
For the first question, swing states. For the second, the 1st of November.
Both are correct. You've got bonus points. This question for both teams now. The U.S. and Great Britain offered financial backing for Gamal Nasser's proposed Aswan Dam, but canceled these offers in 1956 when they learned of a secret arms agreement between Egypt and which country? Silverado, Pippin.
Palestine?
No? Bishop Gorman, Maya?
The Soviet Union.
Yes. Bonus questions now for Gorman only. Answer the following associated with the Soviet Union. Which premier ordered the withdrawal of missiles from Cuba in 1962? And second, the German siege of which Soviet city resulted in more Soviet deaths than both the U.S. and Britain sustained in all of World War II?
First answer, Nikita Khrushchev. Second answer, Stalingrad.
Both are correct. You've got bonus points. Now this question for both teams. A corporate board member learns that very poor quarterly results for his company will be announced soon. He immediately sells several thousand shares of the stock. This is known as what kind? Bishop Gorman, Maya?
Short selling.
Incorrect, and that is an interruption with a point deduction. This is known as what kind of trading? Silverado, Pippin?
Insider trading.
Yes. Bonus questions now for Silverado only. Answer the following associated with business. First, when intellectual property rights have expired, works are then said to exist in what domain? Second, which enterprise laid the foundation for the wealth of the Medici family? Captain.
For the first question, public domain. For the second, banking.
Both are correct, and you've got bonus points. All right, time has expired. That is the end of the bonus round. Our speed round is next. The score going into round 3, Silverado with 75 points to Bishop Gorman's 30. Anything can happen in this third round. Before we begin, we have a returning player for Silverado. We welcome back Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa. Welcome back. And we have 2 new players for Bishop Gorman. There's Christian. Hi, Christian.
Hello.
Welcome. And on the other end, there's Asia. Hi, Asia.
Hi.
Good luck to both of you. Here we go. What legal term beginning with the letter A means to leave a jurisdiction suddenly or secretly to avoid arrest? Silverado, Inez.
Abjure.
No? Time, we're looking for abscond. Next question. Which layer of soil is the zone of leaching of organic matter? Time, the answer A, horizon. Next question. Which legislative body passed the Northwest Ordinance of 1787? Silverado, Pippin.
The Congressional Convention.
Incorrect. Gorman, Ethan.
The Articles of Confederation.
No, we needed the Confederation Congress, so we'll count that as an incorrect answer and move on. In a single-celled organism, what is the function of a cilium? Silverado, Inez.
To move the organism.
Yes. And we move on to the next question. What 2 demonstrative adjectives end with the letter E? Gorman, Ethan.
These and those.
That's right. Next question. What kind of number in decimal form never terminates or repeats? Silverado, Pippin.
Irrational.
Yeah, the old irrational number. In relation to a ruling made by a lower court, an appellate court may take one of 3 primary actions. It can vacate it, it can reverse it, or what else? Silverado, Pippin.
It can uphold it.
Yes. So we'll take that as a correct answer. Next question. Copacabana Beach is part of what city? Bishop Gorman, Maya.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yes. Next question. In the Massachusetts Bay Colony, someone made to wear a scarlet A had been determined to be guilty of which crime? Gorman, Ethan.
Adultery.
Yes. What kind of neutron stars emit electromagnetic signals at precise intervals? Silverado, Pippin.
Pulsars.
Yes. In which Canadian province would you find the confluence of the Thompson and Fraser rivers? Silverado, Inez?
Quebec.
No? Time. I believe that the bell rang. We were looking for British Columbia. Next question. What's the general shape of a henge? Time. We're looking for circular. What borrowed noun indicates a spicy, smoked Polish sausage? Ooh, I think she got in time, so he did. Bishop Gorman, Christian?
Kielbasa.
Yes, sir. I could love me some kielbasa right now. What object used in a popular American sport is described as a prolate spheroid? Gorman, Ethan?
Football.
Yes, sir. Next question. The Russian Orthodox Church was most influential in the history of which U.S. state? Silverado, Alyssa?
Alaska.
Yes. Next question. What unit of measurement describes frequency? Gorman, Ethan?
Hertz.
Yes. Name either of the 2 largest islands adjacent to the Tyrrhenian Sea. Time, we're looking for Sicily or Sardinia. What's the world's northernmost national capital city? Gorman. Gorman, Maya?
Oslo?
No? Time, we're looking for Reykjavik. The Lindbergh Law of 1932 related to what felony? Silverado, Pippin.
Kidnapping.
Yes. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, the three primary European countries with designs on East Africa were England, France, and whom? Silverado, Pippin.
Belgium?
No, and that is an interrupt. I believe she started answering before I finished reading the question, so point deduction. The three primary European countries with designs on East Africa were England, France, and whom? Gorman, Maya?
Germany?
Yes. Déjà vu comes from the French words meaning already and Silverado, Pippin.
Seen.
Yes. Next is a calculation question, but we don't repeat in this third round. What's the slope of any line that is parallel to the line described by the equation y equals 2x plus 3? Gorman, Ethan.
2.
Yes. What powerful winds occur between the troposphere and the stratosphere? No junior weather buddies on the jet stream. The nickname Iron Lady was shared by Margaret Thatcher and which Israeli prime minister? Time, Golda Meir. In the painting, The Spirit of 76, how many people are playing instruments? I think she got in time. Silverado, Inez?
4.
No? And time has rung, so it was 3. Name the valley on the west bank of the Nile where the British archaeologist Howard Carter made his most astounding discovery. Gorman, Maya?
Valley of the Kings?
Yes. Next question. Although hematite appears black, what color is its streak? Silverado, Inez?
Red.
Yes. Next question. If A plus BI represents a complex number, what describes its distance from the origin? Time, we're looking for absolute value. Which Englishman captain learned New Zealand consists of 2 major islands? Gorman, Maya?
James Cook?
Yes. And we're out of time, so that wraps up round 3. Let's find out who won. And our final score, Silverado with 110 to Bishop Gorman's 80. We want to say thank you to both teams. An excellent match. Congratulations to Silverado for the win. So Silverado will be facing the winner of next Monday's match. That's going to be ATEC and Moapa Valley. We hope you'll tune in for another exciting night of Varsity Quiz. That's next Monday at 7:30, right here on Vegas PBS. Good night.